Enough of that coughing.
Yeah, get out of here.
Enough of that coughing. Okay. Hi.
Hi.
We're looking at ourselves in the camera going, we have never been prettier than right now. Just
I'm going to name
falling
this cough.
apart.
I'm going to name this cough Sheridan Whiteside after the man who came to dinner.
Because it never leaves?
It never leaves.
I got it. I got the joke. I got it. I got the joke.
You're my daughter.
What can I say? Hang on. Hi, everybody. I think they're going to a different park.
They're going to a different park?
Yes. Just got a text from Maria. 1 second. Hi, everybody. It's so good to be with you.
If it seems a little calm and quiet at this moment, that's because
it is.
It is. Jesse's intrepid husband, Scott, has taken their daughter, Daisy.
We'll call her Daisy because that's her name.
Out.
Yes. Which has, I don't know, for any other parents, especially parents of very small human beings, you don't realize sort of how tired you are / how drained you are until your child leaves the room and you sort of go, it's a bit like deflating a balloon where you're like, da, 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 da. So yeah, so as soon as Daisy leaves for about a second, my entire body just crumbles to the floor. Hello, Leonard and Jesse from cold, windy, and snowy Northeast Indiana. God, that sounds good. I would love that.
I like snow through a picture window.
Yes, you do. That is very true.
I enjoy looking at snowscapes.
Yep. But that's also because you grew up in snow.
Yeah.
You grew up with those things. For folks like me who are born and raised here, weather is still exciting. I'll tell you that so funny at school, my daughter's school, because all the kids just want to play in the rain. We've had rain a couple of days in the last 2 weeks. And
that's after months
of no rain ever.
Yeah.
And the kids are just desperate to play in it. And you have to battle them to get them inside. I think the highlight for me, though, was a few of the kids now have these rain suits. And they did not realize how fast those rain suits would go on slides. So this kid's Sonny, right down that slide, I think he probably got about 10 feet of air and just flew across the playground. It's only funny because no one got hurt. It's one of those. If anybody got hurt, not funny. Nobody got hurt, so it's hilarious watching these kids, watching these little Angelino babies just absolutely thrilled by the water. Jeff says, have you seen The Girl with the Needle?
No, I have not yet seen that.
And why not?
Just because.
Just because. And
I've also heard it was good. So Thank you for the recommendation.
Yeah.
And I did get a link to the Jack Benny version of the radio version of The Man Who Came to Dinner. And I haven't had time to listen to it yet, but I listened to the first 5 minutes. It sounds like fun.
Yeah. Well, what could be bad? Will Leonard be seeing the Led Zeppelin doc? I enjoyed it, but wow, no sex or drugs mentioned at all. Well, that doesn't seem like much of a rock and roll doc, is it? And then everyone chose to make great decisions. That's not how that works, is it, guys? That's interesting. No, I don't think you've seen it.
No,
and I haven't seen it because I don't see anything. A friend of ours was at the Saturn Awards and saw you guys, but mysteriously you disappeared before the after party. That would be because we went home to sleep. It was late. It went quite long, and I had to get home to Daisy. It was so let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
A very good place to start. My dad has actually just written an article about this. Because of the fires, basically, and we're very lucky. We were far enough away that we weren't worried about our house. The air was terrible, and
but we're not cocky minded. We know that embers can fly.
Oh yeah. At one point, the fire was starting to come over the mountain towards us. That was very scary, but then they got it. But what it has meant is that all of the majority of the award stuff got moved around. And it ended up that almost everything was happening last week.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of just jammed everything into last week.
They had to postpone with purpose. They had to
Yeah.
make sure they weren't choosing a date that another award ceremony was choosing to reschedule.
So
the hotel had to be available.
Yeah, it just a mess, because you just had, so many events. Because this time of year, January, February, and then depending on when the Oscars are in March, it's chaos. And it's, again, it's not like it's bad, but it's just a lot. There every weekend has minimum 2 award shows, usually more than that. There will be stuff Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Sometimes there's stuff in the mornings as well as the evenings, blah, blah, blah. So Saturn Awards was Sunday, I think the 3rd. And so we got to go to that, and that was a lot of fun. We were there because a friend of ours invited us, and it was a blast. My dad got to see some folks he hadn't seen in a long time. Most importantly for me, I finally sort of spoke to Nicolas Cage. I'm obsessed with Nicolas Cage, and every time he has been in my general vicinity, I just freeze because I love him so much. And in this case, my dad and I went over, and the two of them have met before, and you just had a nice conversation.
He couldn't
and
have
I
been
just sort of
friendlier.
stood like this and watched him. And then you went around and said hello to Lawrence Fishburne, who's so cool. So yeah, we got to see a lot of really, really neat people. That was a blast. And then
Nicolas Cage also then won
a
competitive award as Best Actor
Yeah.
For Dream Scenario, a film I like a lot. And if you like him at all, I recommend it to you.
And you should, because he's Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
Duh.
It's a very ingenious film.
Yeah. You are twisting yourself.
And he's really
Put
good.
This down.
He's really good in it.
Are you still live on YouTube? Yeah, we should be. There's some folks responding to us from there. He is, I gotta say, he looked great.
Yeah,
he really did. Sometimes he can look a little strange. He looked great. He could not have been nicer. The speeches he gave 2 speeches, and both were really beautiful and really heartfelt. So that was a blast. And then, as I say, we saw a whole bunch of other people, and it was just really, really fun. But they give away a lot of awards. And so it
does go on.
It was like 4 hours. The show was about 4 hours. And at that point, I've now left my child with my mother for 4 hours. And it's getting to be nighttime, and it's getting to be bedtime. So as soon as the show ended, we left. I did get to say hi to Joel McHale, which was nice. He was the host. He's lovely. So that was Sunday. On Wednesday was the Santa Barbara Film Festival and my dad's award that's named after him, the Maltin Modern Master, and that was with Angelina Jolie. And she's always been very nice to you.
I've met her just to say hello.
Yeah. I mean, when you've interviewed her on carpets and stuff like that, It's always been very pleasant. So we knew it would be a good evening. But she ended up just being really open and warm, which was lovely. And you guys had a great conversation.
We did.
You had a really nice conversation. And then Ava DuVernay came out, and she presented Angelina with the award. We've known Ava DuVernay forever now, and she's the nicest.
And she paid me a lovely compliment.
Yeah,
it was good for my ego.
Yeah,
that doesn't matter to you folks, but it matters to me. And it was very nice.
It was a really, really nice night. Now, normally when we have Santa Barbara,
this event takes place in the Arlington Theater, which is a historic movie theater in Santa Barbara. And it seats 2,000, and it was jam-packed, not a seat to be had. And you could hear a pin drop.
Yeah.
You really could.
Yeah, they were into it.
Yeah.
I did also get, and I have to post it because I haven't, but if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen the stories, but Daisy walked down the red carpet with my dad, and it was ridiculously cute. And it's something that she did. She just took my dad's hand and started walking with him. So it was very, very, very sweet. I'm glad. Doug says, I'm glad you posted on IG from the Saturn Awards because it reminded me it was streaming on Roku. Yes. It is, by the way, quite strange to be sitting in a room when an event is being streamed or shown live, because you get breaks, but then when they come back in, it's like, everybody sit down. It's a funny thing. Anyway, so that was Wednesday. Well, normally Santa Barbara, my dad's events tend to be Thursdays or Fridays or Saturdays. In this case, because
and I've been going up there and doing this
30-something years.
Yeah. And part of the perk of doing it, I don't get paid for hosting these interview evenings, but I get paid by getting a free weekend in Santa Barbara for my family and me.
Yeah.
And we were spoiled. We are very spoiled because we've stayed at some wonderful places and
beautiful hotels
and been treated just beautifully.
Yeah.
And the only night that Angelina was free to do this tribute evening was Wednesday.
So it's an odd day to do it anyway. But then again, because everything got moved and suddenly last week was crammed, it meant that my parents drove straight home after the Angelina evening
in the rain
to go to AFI the next day. And the AFI luncheon is a very cool event because you get the top 10 TV shows and the top 10 films.
And they each get a table of 10 seats to fill. So they choose, I guess, among themselves who gets to come and represent the show. Usually it's one or more of the stars and the showrunner or producer or creator. You look out at that room, it's a pretty impressive array of people.
And part of what's fun about any event that also honors television is it means that we see people we don't necessarily get to see. Now there's so much, I don't know, the waters are beautifully muddied in that actors do TV and film all the time. But there was a long while where TV was TV and film was film, and you had not very much crossover, comparatively speaking. And so like for my mom, she loved going to the AFI luncheon because for a long time, Mad Men was honored every year and she got to see John Hamm.
Got to get a hug from John Hamm.
And that was very important. Now, as I say, you sort of get more of a mix because people do film and TV. But still, you get to see folks that, you don't necessarily get a chance.
We watched the latest Graham Norton show last night, and Robert De Niro was on. And of course, they didn't have him sit for the whole hour on that sofa. No. That would have
though he has before.
Yeah.
He has before.
Yeah, but with someone that he knew.
Yeah. It's usually they keep him safe.
Yeah.
They keep him safe. Yeah. But was there a reason?
Oh no, just that he was on plugging a TV series.
Yeah.
First time he's done a TV series, and Graham was asking him about that.
Yeah.
And he almost answered.
Look. It's
the man is one of the greatest actors on the planet.
Yeah.
So that he's not a
gregarious,
a great self-starter as an interview subject. It's just, a minor flaw that we have to say. That's okay.
Some people are great at that.
He's Robert De Niro.
Some people are great at that and some people are not. Yeah. And he's not rude. He just doesn't particularly love to talk.
Angelina told a great story. Actually.
Yeah, I heard that one.
Because De Niro directed her in a film I like called The Good Shepherd that doesn't have as big a reputation as I think it deserves, about the early years of the CIA in the 1940s. And when it was called the OSS, I think.
I don't know.
Anyway, and she said that he was an intimidating figure to her as a director until he discovered that she was pregnant, in the early stages of pregnancy. And he said, "Get her a banana. Let's take care of you. Are you okay?" And he became like a concerned father.
Yeah.
And that's very sweet to hear.
What's kind of funny about him is considering that, not that he's only known for gangsters, but he's sort of known as a tough kind of a guy. Obviously, he's done a lot of comedy as well at this point.
Yeah.
But he just really kind of come off as just gentle.
Yeah.
He's a lot softer than I think you would have thought. Yeah, exactly. Film and TV. I was going to say film and TV. Harrison Ford. It's true. Harrison Ford's doing some great television. We got to see him the other day, which was really neat. You got to speak to him at the AFI luncheon.
Mm-hmm.
And then we saw him because we got to go to the premiere for the new Captain America movie. But anyway, so this is Thursday lunch. Thursday night was actually the LA Film Critics Awards, but my dad teaches on Thursday nights and tries not to miss. So he was at school instead of at LAFCA and had a film that is getting honored quite a bit, an animated film called Flow.
From the country of Latvia, which actually has a healthy film industry, it turns out. And while the director of the feature, Flow, was at LA Film Critics.
The director was supposed to be at my dad's class that night, but because they had to move the LA Film Critics Awards, he couldn't be at class because he was at LAFCA. So instead, they got one of his colleagues. Sorry, it said he was, yes. You get it. Just mixed to hell. But you got to show it, and you had a great guest. You had a great guest. Go team. So that happened. Friday, my dad and I got to go to the CCAs, the Critics' Choice Awards. Now, that is a bit of an overwhelming one just because of the star power. It is a bit, I don't think it ever gets normal to walk into a room of that many famous people.
Yeah.
But especially because you get sort of, there's newbies, there's people who are newer into it, but then you have like your legends and folks like that. And it's just, every time you turn around, you kind of go, huh. And we were sitting at my dad's favorite film of the year. We were sitting at the Complete Unknown table. Monica Barbaro, who's so nice, was sitting next to you. And then Boyd Holbrook, who plays Johnny Cash, was sort of diagonal. We've had him on the show on our podcast, but hadn't seen him in a while. He's another one. So nice.
I'm a little slow, or maybe very slow on the uptake. It took me time to realize that this pretty brunette woman.
Did you not realize that was her?
Yeah, I did not realize for a while.
How did you not?
For a while.
This is why we can't take him places. This is literally why we can't take him. I didn't know you didn't. I knew you didn't recognize Boyd, but I didn't know you didn't recognize her.
Duh.
I will tell you, the only negative of Los Angeles and acting this kind of thing is that unless you have, so what Monica Barbaro is a very beautiful brunette. But unfortunately, she doesn't have like a wart or something on her face that I could then describe it better to you. So this is the only reason why sometimes having something a little out of place can help. Because otherwise you're going, she's this really beautiful brunette. And I could describe more things about her. Like I loved her dress and she was very funny and we had a really nice time chatting with each other. But this is what can be hard when you're in an industry where we have just really beautiful brunettes, really beautiful redheads, really beautiful blondes. As I go, unless you got like a third arm, I don't know how else to describe you. I didn't realize that you didn't know that was her. Oh, Leonard.
What can I tell you?
So my favorite moment, I think, though, was early on, which is that a real pain table was right next to us. And Jesse Eisenberg came in when we were standing. And someone said to me, do you want a picture together? Do I want a picture with Jesse Eisenberg? And I said, no, that's okay. And he goes, what? I'm not mine. I don't think you're trying to steal my soul. And I went, you know what? Yeah, let's have it. So that's my dad and I got a picture. Again, one of the highlights really has been that at all these different events, they're bringing in a lot of the first responders, which is
LA firefighters.
We're all quite emotional about all of this.
Yeah.
And they're also bringing their dogs, and I will do anything for a dog. So the first photo that I took at the CCAs was with a dog, and her name was Willow, and she was the bestest girl. And she was helping with the fires. So that was very exciting. Our friend Gray kept asking the firefighters who they wanted photos with, and every single one wanted Angelina Jolie. So Gray said by the end of the night, Angelina Jolie was going to kill her because she just kept bringing over firefighters to have their photo taken. I say that. I'm sure Angelina was very gracious about the whole thing.
Sure she
but
was.
Very funny. The Annie Awards happened too. We didn't even do that one. Hi, Leonard and Jesse from Australia. Hello down there. Have you seen Looney Tunes The Day the Earth Blew Up? As a Looney Tunes fan, it's my most anticipated film of the year.
Yeah, for me too. And yet other things have gotten in the way. And they just sent me a link so that I can watch it on my big screen TV at home.
That's good.
So I look forward to it and I hope it's good.
Yeah. Did you get to see Ariana Grande or any of the Wicked cast? I did. Well, the thing is, Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo, they're not just petite, but they're really short. And so you couldn't really see them very easily, but you could see Jeff Goldblum because he's like 6 foot something. So when John M. Chu won for Best Director, you saw Jeff Goldblum pop up, and he had this bright, because he always dresses in bright colors and funky stuff. You saw him shoot up, and you can sort of see Cynthia and Ariana Grande. It is, as I say, it's a really overwhelming room because everywhere you look, there's someone else. So we were sort of moving around and going around a little bit. And, Naomi Watts was behind me, and we saw Liev Schreiber, and, you come over here, there's Adrian Brody, and you go over here and it's the table for Amelia Perez, and you see all of those folks. And it's a lot. And then Jackie Chan presented an award.
Oh man. And they didn't make a big deal about it.
No.
And now is our next presenter, Jackie Chan.
Yeah. And everybody just went, Jackie Chan?
What? And rose to their feet.
Yeah, because it's Jackie Chan.
It's Jackie Chan.
So we all jumped up and cheered for Jackie Chan. That was awesome. We have you seen him since Hot Ticket?
No.
My dad had a show called Hot Ticket. I was 16 at the time. So that's 18. No, I'm older than that. 18 years ago? I can't math. Longer than that? 20 years ago?
You were 18?
18 years ago. There you go. No, I was 16 because I just started driving and I could drive myself to the lot. This is how you remember things. He was on the show, and he, again, so nice and so funny and so professional. Man, is he, I mean, like, you deal with some people and he knows exactly what you want.
Right. He's very self-aware. He's aware that his English is still not absolutely fluent, and he still has his accent.
Like anybody cares.
But he wanted to be sure that he was understood. We gave him a line to read, and he practiced. He didn't want to do it half shot. He wanted to do a good job.
And Joyce, his co-host at the time, fake punched him, and they rehearsed it. One of the things he said, and this has made me laugh, and I think about it all the time, is that he says whenever people say his name, they always go Jackie Chan. And from that, now I have Jackie Chan. So yeah, that was, anyway, it's a trip seeing everybody and a lot of fun. And again, the first responders, people just kept thanking them, which has been at everything we've been to. That's been
a through line.
Because they should be thanked and praised. So then we got to go to the premiere for Captain America this week. And we don't do a lot of premieres, primarily because the movie doesn't start on time.
If you're going into the premiere to cover it, it means you're working the premiere. If you go to gawk at stars, that's fine. If you go to see the movie, it's a pain in the neck because
you just want to see the movie.
And they don't, it'll start 30 minutes late, 40 minutes late.
We were lucky. It was about 40 minutes late on Tuesday, which is not bad. 40 minutes is not bad at all. But yeah, so we don't do that a lot, but every now and then it's fun, you got to do it. And it was neat to be on the red carpet. We saw everybody. Man, Harrison Ford looks fantastic. Can I just say, looks fantastic. The movie, now this has been interesting to me. We don't care about the Marvel movies. We don't care. And I don't say that in a,
let's be clear.
Yeah.
We're not into the Marvel universe.
I don't care.
I never read those comics as a kid. So,
and I can't read.
So I have no deep rooted affection or knowledge of the Marvel universe. Forget cinematic.
To which I will say, universe. We don't care. My husband does. My husband loves all of this, so he cares. We don't care. What that means is that all we want is a good movie. We don't get super excited when someone appears because it doesn't matter to us. All we want is a good movie. And again, this can be positive and negative. It means that sometimes we watch something and we go, well, that was fun. And then people hated it. And it's because, they didn't do the following 87 things.
Right.
Well, this is the same as whenever a book gets made into a film.
Right.
The people who love the book are going to say, oh, but you left out all of this stuff. People who are seeing it for the first time may feel like something was left out. That was one thing you said with this movie, is that you felt like we were coming in on chapter 2, which is true because they don't sort of explain anything. It kind of just starts and you're supposed to know what's going on. For us, though, I kind of am just always expecting that at this point because I don't remember the movies. And they always, hark back to this, that, the other. And I don't know what any of it means. So again, I'm just watching it. And watching it to just watch it, I thought it was fine. It was fun. They were good. The highlight, hands down, is Harrison Ford. He's fantastic. Like, he really is.
Yeah.
His performance is nuanced. He goes through a whole range of emotions, loud to soft, and all of these things. And when it ended, I said, I almost wish it wasn't a Marvel movie because the man should be nominated for awards. He's just so good in it.
Well, he brings the proper weight
and
authority to the role of President of the United States, which he's played before, Air Force One, notably. And you believe him. In a movie where you have to suspend disbelief of the real world, you absolutely believe he is and could be the President of the United States. And if you don't buy that, you're not buying anything in the movie.
Yeah.
So he's the linchpin.
But he's so good, and everyone in it is good. Again, everybody in it is
Anthony
good.
Mackie's very good.
There's a newcomer, Danny something, and he's a lot of fun. So yeah, I liked everything in it. But again, I have no horse in the race. So it's been really interesting reading the reviews after the fact, and some people hated it. Not just didn't like it, hated it. And so it's sort of been interesting to read that stuff and go, really, that bad? Like, I've seen some bad movies in my life. I don't think this is a bad movie. It's a movie. So it's interesting because for a lot of people, it is an emotional thing. It is, oh, you're taking this character that I love and you're doing X, Y, Z with it. So that's the only positive, I think, of not having a horse in the race, is that you sort of go, well, I liked it. It was fun. The end.
I would call it uneven.
Yeah, I'd say uneven. Uneven is fitting. But just not bad. I didn't think of it as bad. Just different. They used, we were sitting in the Chinese theater and they used across the street, the El Capitan, and filled it with first responders and their families. So when Harrison Ford came out with Anthony Mackie and the director and his co-star, Harrison Ford, I have to say, probably the most emotional I've seen him in a long time. But he just started he said, I've played a lot of heroes. He said, but all I'm doing, he said, I'm playing a character who does something good, who makes a good decision. He said, you guys, every day, this is what you do. And it's not like this is the last time. This is just, today's last assignment. So it was, I loved seeing him sort of be emotional about it. I thought that was special. So yeah. So say we've just had a time. It's just been a bonkers,
taking it all in,
bonkers time.
This is not our normal mode of behavior, or our nor are these opportunities spread before us on a regular basis.
Oh, and I mentioned the car. So Daisy and I were driving to school. We got into a car accident because my car was 13 years old. I had a RAV4 forever. They called it totaled. So suddenly I had to try to find a car.
That was not the name of the car, the RAV4 Forever.
RAV4 Forever. Yeah. Yes. I had my RAV4 for 13 years and she was still doing me justice. They got into an accident and they said, well, your car's old, so it's totaled. So on top of sort of all of this chaos, I've been having to try and find a car.
And dealing with car dealerships, I would almost rather have root canal.
On it, I would. I would go back and have more mouth surgeries. Yeah. I can't. And I did feel bad. I felt bad for this one guy at Toyota because this was after my mom and I had been to quite literally 7 different dealerships. What we've learned is that even to this day, my mom had this experience during COVID. A lot of cars stopped coming. They stopped being able to manufacture them.
And the supply chain
dropped pretty significantly. So my mom had a lot of trouble getting a car a few years ago. Well, apparently that supply chain has not improved terribly. And so I found myself struggling to try and find a car. So by the time we got to that poor Toyota dealership in North Hollywood, my mom was yelling at the guy before he said anything. She was like, "Tell us the truth." It was, yeah, I did. I felt bad for him. But I got a car. I got a car yesterday or the day before. I don't even know anymore. So at least that's done and we're okay. But yeah, it's been madness. I'm trying to think if you've watched that many movies, and I don't think you really have because we've been doing so much.
Not a lot. This past week in class, I showed my dead friend Zoe,
which you liked,
which I saw at South by Southwest in Austin
last year.
No, year before last.
Was it?
Yeah.
No, you're wrong. It was this year.
We weren't there last year.
Yes, we were. We were there last year. Last year was with when we interviewed Frank Oz.
Frank Oz. Was that 1 year ago?
That was just last year. That was last March.
I've lost track of everything.
Yeah, that was last March. You saw my dead friend Zoe last March.
I have lost track of everything.
Yes, and that's okay. Yeah, so you saw that last March.
Yeah.
Good. And you liked it, and then you showed it in class.
Good movie.
And I'm trying to think of what else. Oh, you showed Companion.
Oh, yeah, that was a pleasant surprise. And Drew, last name to be filled in, the writer-director who's been, he's not a kid. He's been very active as a television writer for quite a while.
Yeah.
But this is his first feature as writer and director. And it's really good. If you have a chance to see Companion, it's playing in the theaters. And event will soon be online too.
Stream inevitably.
But if you feel like you want to go out to the movies,
yeah,
and you want to be fairly assured you're going to not waste your time, and will be amused,
or just have a nice time.
Yeah,
just have a nice
Companion
time.
is a good movie.
Yeah. Saying yes. So something that somebody was mentioning earlier was that he wishes that in the Wicked movie that Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth were in it. But yeah, the truth is it's a really difficult thing. I mean, look what happened to Dear Evan Hansen. That movie was skewered because of the fact that they still had Ben Platt play the lead. And, you know, Ben Platt lost weight to try and look younger. It was a whole thing, but they've been trying to get that made into a movie for years. So by the time he actually did it, he was 30 and they just didn't think it worked that well. So I think with Wicked, it's really tricky because it is kind of funny that it's taken this long to make.
Yeah.
Only because of how well the show has continued to do for years.
And also because Hollywood is still gun shy about bankrolling a big musical.
Yep.
And the results bear out their trepidation.
Yeah. It's tricky for sure.
And we're a family. We love musicals. We thrive on musicals.
Yeah.
Live, and recorded, and visible on stage or on screen.
Yep.
So there's nothing odd to us about, seeing or enjoying a musical.
Yeah.
For some people, it's like, no, musicals, no.
Well, it's sort of like to me when you ask someone, what kind of music do you like? And they say everything except opera and country. And you go, I bet I could find something you'd like, because it's silly to just cut any entire genre out of something. We don't like horror. It's not our go-to. I've seen some really great horror movies, it can happen. I won't not watch it on principle if somebody says it's worth your time. Josh says Oscar voting underway. Mikey Madison just upset at the BAFTAs. I'm in my element. Did she win? I haven't looked through. I've been seeing a lot of clips from IFTAs, the Irish film, where Saoirse Ronan and those kind of people just racking it up because who doesn't love them? But I haven't seen all the BAFTA winners yet, so I'm sure. But Cary Grant once said go with the original. I'm sure Cary Grant did say go with the original, but probably not 20 odd years later after, because if you're trying to have Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth playing girls who are in school, I don't know. I mean, there's not enough cheesecloth to make that feel real. Still one of my favorite things that my parents would try to explain to me. Is it Mame? Is it Lucille Ball and Mame that they couldn't see? The cheesecloth was so thick. If you don't know what cheesecloth, a trick they used to do to soften a camera a bit, if somebody needed to be softened, was a little cheesecloth in front of that lens. And I believe that it is thought that there may have been more cheesecloth than camera for Lucille Ball and Mame. What can we say? Craig is saying, Leonard, have you caught up with the 5 documentaries nominated?
No, and shame on me because I have not. And so I probably won't be voting in that category because I can't honestly voice an opinion not having seen the majority of the films.
Yeah. Yeah. So Kevin's saying, if I remember correctly, that same criticism was made of the film Rent. I enjoyed it, though.
Yes.
Well, see, but again, this is the thing. It depends on what you need to believe. And, they had some of the cast members were the originals. And even then they got crap for using them, in certain cases. Well, they're too old. But the beauty of Rent is that it's La Vie Boheme, you can play around with it a little bit. Plus they had Rosario Dawson, they brought in a few newer people. And I think it just worked as well because the people who were going to see Rent were going to see Rent. And I think for most of us, we were so damn excited to be seeing a number of the originals.
I didn't think Jesse L. Martin was too old.
That's also, he's Jesse L. Martin. I'll watch him do anything. No, I think I really liked the movie of Rent. Not everybody did. I enjoyed it. But I understand sort of all the pieces of it. And it is tricky. What do you do? Conclave cleaned house at the BAFTAs. Interesting.
No, I have not seen the Liza Minnelli documentary yet, and I want to. That's one that I'm very much interested in.
Unfortunately, this time of year, they do just stack, and it's hard sometimes to get through it. Also, just to have the mindset to watch something that you actually need to pay attention to. This is part of why, for you guys, you relax, you put on either HGTV or TCM because it allows you to just relax.
Yep.
And whatever it is, you're happy. Donnie says, I just watched the Waitress musical and loved it. I love the movie Waitress. I love it. I have not seen the musical. I've heard most of the music and it's gorgeous. But I love the movie Waitress. I love it so much. I think it's a really beautiful little film. And obviously the story is really sad, the whole thing. But it's a beautiful movie and it's a beautiful legacy as well.
Well, yes. Adrienne Shelley.
For Adrienne Shelley.
Now has her name on scholarships.
Yeah.
Awards
which is
things.
Beautiful. Kevin says, I love Jesse L. Martin in anything. His current TV show, The Irrational, is wonderful. Yeah, he's fantastic. Arthur says Jesse L. Martin, I think, was born with a receding hairline. Man, it happens. It happens, and that's okay. I don't get the Honora love. I thought it was 40 minutes too long, and it was not as clever as it thought it was. Well, so my mother hated it. My mom hated Honora. I haven't seen it because, again, I really don't get to watch much.
Well, the film opens. This is not a spoiler. The film opens by throwing in your face that you were in not a strip club, but a lap dance club. And so there's a lot of nudity and grinding.
Yeah.
And she was just turned off.
Yeah.
She was turned off. And the fact that the film moves away from there as the plot kicks in, didn't recapture her.
Yeah.
But it worked fine for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I went in wanting to like it because I like Sean Baker.
Yeah. But I think the thing with Sean Baker is his movies are never going to be for everybody.
No.
And he doesn't care.
I didn't like his last one, Red Rocket.
Yeah.
I mean, we loved the Florida Project.
Mm.
And I liked Tangerine. I liked Starlet. So I've liked a lot of his. Yeah. And the one about the delivery guy.
Oh, Man Push Cart?
Yeah. No.
No, sorry. Who's Man Push Cart? Oh, that's Ramin Barani.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ramin Barani. Whatever it was. I think that Sean Baker is special. And I think that he has an eye. And even if you don't like something of his, there's still some value in it. And you still want to see him succeed. That's how I feel. Let's see. Whoops, sorry. One sec. Oh, Takeout. There you go. 1 second. Jesse Leonard, what is your first movie experience? I know yours. And it's Snow White. His is Snow White.
The 1955 reissue of Snow White at a time when movie theaters had continuous showings. They didn't clear the house. You could stay and watch it all day, any film. And if it was a double feature, you could watch the double feature. Martin Scorsese talks about that a lot, and about seeing films just that way. You just walk in wherever the film happened to be. It's impossible.
And the murderer is
it's impossible to conceive of doing this now.
Yeah.
But everybody did it then.
Yeah.
And the phrase was, "This is where we came in,"
because literally this is where you came in.
Yeah. So anyway, I remember my mother taking me by the hand into the Guild Theater on 50th Street in Manhattan for Snow White. And the first image I saw was the last shot of Snow White, the golden sun, and the prince taking the recently revived Snow White off to a happy ending. That's the image that's burned in my brain. First image.
I think it's probably Little Mermaid. I think. I mean, you were there. It's probably Little Mermaid that I remember. Sitting in, I think sitting in a theater is probably Little Mermaid. And then lots of them after that. And they start to get vivid, obviously, as I get older. But then we watched a lot at home, obviously. We watch stuff all the time. So it's hard. I think it's hard to remember because they were just always movies on all the time. So I don't have a specific.
What kind of strange household did you grow up?
I know, right? Yeah. Well, I mean, again, like I have memory. It's weird. I have memories of those Disney premieres on the lot. Like I remember the Dalmatians and I remember the Snow White cave that they did, but I have no memory of the movie part. I just remember what they set up for the kids to play with. Disney used to do these Saturday morning screenings on the lot here.
It was a friends and family press event.
And they would set things up. So I remember for Snow White, they had a cave with gems in it. And it was the material. It's so weird the way you remember these things. The material was similar to what you see at Splash Mountain, which is, it's supposed to look kind of rough, but it feels like squishy. Why I remember this, who the hell knows? And then for 101 Dalmatians, they brought a bunch of Dalmatian puppies, and there are photos of me playing with the Dalmatian puppies. So obviously that one stuck, but not the movie part.
Yeah. When did they bring the fake snow and the reindeer? What was
that was for the Santa Claus, and that was at the Dome in Hollywood. That's when that was that one. Was we pulled up when it was by itself, when it was just the dome on its own, and we pulled up and they had reindeer outside and fake snow. That was amazing. They used really, I mean, they still, obviously, they still go all out with some premieres, but the stuff that I got to see as a kid was so cool. It was so much fun, and I'm so grateful that was the case before.
And then they made it snow inside the El Capitan.
Oh, well, that happens all the time.
Yeah. Well, now.
They do that all the time. But yeah, it's so I think something like that. I probably, in terms of watching, it's in my head, they're all mixed, but it's going to be Pajama Game, Calamity Jane, Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. Again, they're all sort of smushed into Good News. They're all one movie at this point in my head because I watched them so much. And then I also really love the serials. My dad always had this. So we watched, I loved Buster Crabbe. Who wouldn't love Buster Crabbe?
And Flash Gordon.
Shazam, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I think it's all in there somewhere. It's a jumble, but I loved it. Craig says, it sure looks like Kieran Culkin, Adrian Brody, and Zoe Saldana are locks for the Oscar. Honora and Sean Baker are looking great too. There's a race for actress, not Carla though. Yeah, that whole Carla thing, that's bonkers. But no, it is. I think the thing I like.
I don't ever use the phrase sure thing or lock.
Yeah.
It's just me.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how you predict. Now it's almost 10,000 people voting.
Yeah.
It used to be 5,000 to 6,000, and they were mostly Hollywood based.
Yeah.
Largely Hollywood based. My friend Pete Hammett, who was a great Oscar handicapper, used to get his clues by calling older Oscar voters. He would call people like Renee Taylor and Joe Bologna and say, who are you going to be voting for? And they would happily tell him. And when he got that sense of an undercurrent, he would say, okay,
this is probably where it's going. Yeah.
But now, with thousands of members spread all over the world, very hard to handicap.
Yeah. Ryan says, I remember you were in a documentary on The Little Mermaid for the 2006 DVD and talked about Jesse seeing it at a young age in the documentary. So apparently 2006, you remembered that. 2025, you not so much, but 2006, you remember that was that one.
Not so much.
So I'm with you. So the person's saying, my first movie was Romancing the Stone because my parents couldn't find a sitter. But they took me to the double feature for Mickey's Christmas Carol and The Rescuers. That's awesome. I love that. That's so great. That's so great. Let's see. Hang on. You have a couple of people are mentioning the ones. Several of you are actually saying The Jungle Book, which I love. Those Disney re-releases were genius because that's exactly how you should see a lot of those movies back in a theater. Ben is saying, wasn't Psycho the movie or one of them that changed all day showings? I don't know that. Do you know that?
Well, yes. Hitchcock used his clout to convince Paramount, which released the film originally, to not admit anybody after the film had begun. It was a gimmick.
Shift. Yeah, of course.
It was a gimmick.
Yeah.
But the theater owners went along with it because it worked. It was much talked about. And that may have been the impetus for thinking about changing the way they've been doing business, but I don't know for a fact.
What was your opinion of Kieran Culkin being awarded a supporting actor when he's the lead of the film? I wish voters would stop pushing out true supporting players for the supporting categories. Well, this is where you get into a tricky area in award land. The problem is this, if you're going to go for it. So Jesse Eisenberg has been everywhere this award season. Everywhere. They have him doing TikToks. They have him on every possible thing you can imagine, doing stuff that honestly I would never imagine him doing, like silly bits and dressing up and stuff that just is not necessarily in his wheelhouse. But the thing is, he very clearly wants this film to get attention, and he's willing to put in the work.
And it's in theatrical release right now.
Yeah, so he's very much putting in the work to see that this film is out there and getting attention. Because you can't have both of them in the same category, that's where you get into this.
They cancel each other out.
Weird thing. Where do you have one of them be supporting and one of them be lead? Do you have both of them be supporting? And what ends up happening is they kind of just look to what's the most likely case of winning. And many times over, you've seen this where someone's in supporting and you go, that they're the lead of the movie. Why are they in supporting? Why? Yeah. Because they have a better shot at winning.
Yeah.
So that's when you go away from.
And there's no nuance to the categories. There's no co-leading.
Yeah. And I mean, the co-leading would be them both nominated in lead.
Right.
But they can't. So it's, and it has happened before, obviously, where there's more than one person from the same movie nominated in those categories. That's happened. But yeah, it's a tricky situation where, as I say, that's where it sort of comes into more business than reality.
Yeah.
The business is, if you want them to win, then you probably put them in supporting because there's a better shot of that. Is it right? No, but it's also awards and it's a whole thing.
You can go back decades to Billy Wilder's film, The Fortune Cookie, where Walter Matthau won Best Supporting Actor, and he is the lead of the film. Jack Lemmon is injured at the beginning of the story and is off screen for the better part of the film. It's Mathau's movie, but there you go.
Yeah,
it got him an Oscar.
As I say, I like that this year it's not as clear cut who will win, but also I like that it's different people from different movies.
Yeah.
Some years it's a sweep. It's a clean sweep. And that's fine too. But there's something really fun about the fact that you have Anora winning Best Picture and Jesse Eisenberg and also Sean Baker winning their screenplays, going back and forth. I like that you have somebody from A Real Pain and somebody else from Emilia Perez and somebody else from Anora and somebody, and so on and so Conclave, The Brutalist. I think it's really nice that it's spread around.
What isn't getting recognition, unfortunately, is September 5,
Yeah.
which is such a good movie. More people have to see.
And Bike Riders.
Oh, Bike Riders got completely screwed.
Bike Riders is out. Yeah.
Completely screwed.
My dad said that to Boyd Holbrook, that it's just a crying shame that this is one of those things that happened where Bike Riders just didn't get seen.
Well, they didn't really release. They postponed its release.
Yeah.
They didn't stop it from being shown at the AFI Fest in the fall.
Yeah.
And that's when I interviewed Jeff Nichols after a screening.
I know.
And then they decided, no, let's get it out of the awards cluster and put it out in 2024. But they didn't ever really
2025.
2024.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah.
And they never gave it a proper release. It's a really good movie.
It's a shame. So that one really didn't get enough. And what are you gonna do? Ken just noticed these two posters, which is why I look back. I don't know what they are. Do you know what these two posters rolled up here are? Are they Scott's or are they yours?
No, they're probably mine.
They are probably yours. Greetings and good day, Maltins. Hello. Since this year is the 50th anniversary of, among others, Jaws, Cuckoo's Nest, Dog Day Afternoon, and Rocky Horror, which anniversary screening are you excited about?
I'm excited about any of them being back on the big screen. I will be introducing for Fathom Events, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And what are the other titles?
Jaws and Dog Day Afternoon and Rocky Horror. Rocky Horror, thankfully, gets played all the time.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's as much of a draw because people love to go to those screenings because they're fun. I would never see Jaws in a theater because I don't want to cry. I have a hard enough time watching it on a small screen. It scares the crap out of me. Great movie, scares the crap out of me. Yeah, any of them, honestly. It's great. Anytime people get to see a movie like this on a big screen, it's a good day. It's the 75th anniversary of Cinderella. Cinderella is my favorite princess, and I love, because I'm an adult and I can still have a favorite princess, and so can you. My favorite princess is Cinderella, and I love carriages. I love old carriages like that, and so I collect stuff from that. And I am so excited because there's so much merch being made for Cinderella. So I'm buying all the little cute things I see and very much enjoying that. Jerry Beck just posted about all of the Tom and Jerry merch. Is it Tom and Jerry?
Yeah.
There is a litany of a plethora, if you will, a plethora. I know it's plethora, but isn't more fun to say plethora? Who wouldn't say plethora given the option? There's a plethora of stuff.
New Tom and Jerry stuff.
Like from makeup to shirts to shoes to everything. It's kind of bonkers. What have you got?
I've got a kinophone. It's an example of gramophone cinema. First here, and then here. That's the cover. It's the lid of the box.
Mm-hmm.
And as you can see, this woman in the illustration is looking at a circular mirror, because on the turntable has been placed one of these.
Oh, hi, Logan.
One of these disc-like creations. There's Felix the Cat, who of course was the biggest cartoon star of the silent film era.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the greatest star of any era, Charlie Chaplin. And I have about a half dozen of these discs.
Oh.
Sorry about that. And then this is the device that would go over the spindle of the turntable of your gramophone, or Victrola if you prefer. And so it is actually, I guess it's not a zoetrope, because zoetrope is looking through the slots.
Yeah.
This is more of a praxinoscope, I guess. Again, one more time to show you how.
It's not very big. just like this. Alec is saying, I have a hard time watching Cinderella being abused. And so that is why whenever I watch it, it triggers unwanted intrusive thoughts and flashbacks of painful ordeals. Does it ever do that to you? I really struggle with bullying of any kind in movies, also in life. But I have a very, very hard time when somebody is being cruel or mean to someone. It just upsets me. And so it's very true that that is the case. I think with Cinderella specifically, seeing her supported by, I love Jacques and Gus, seeing her supported in that way. And then of course she gets the happy ending, and she doesn't have to stoop to the level of her evil stepsisters or stepmother. No. She stays the person that she is, and she finds her true love and lives a happy life.
She isn't a victim.
Mm-mm.
She will not behave or act like a victim.
Yeah.
She's going to find a way to see it through and to persevere.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I like Cinderella as a character.
Yeah. Kim's asking how old this is.
Well, that's a good question. Felix.
And it wasn't Daisy that drew on it, right? Was it?
Yeah. I'll find a way to get rid of that.
Let's pretend.
Yeah. This is a catalog from Titlecraft, motion picture titles, from the Bell and Howell Company in Chicago, Illinois.
Yeah.
If you want to make your home movies look more professional, you could order up these continuity titles or art titles and look just like a real Hollywood movie. Yeah. The other leading supplier of this kind of stuff was called Filmac, and they were also in Chicago, and I made use of them because when I bought my print of my favorite Charlie Chase short, The Pip from Pittsburgh, it was missing its main title. So I ordered from Filmac. I think it cost $15 50 years ago. Or more.
Thank you, Ken. He says Daisy's scribbling raises the value.
Yeah. It raises something.
Raises something. My blood pressure.
Yeah. I think it cost about $15 to have them do a main title. It didn't have any sound, but I could put it on, and I showed it that way.
Yeah.
And
it's cool. So the front, it says Titlecraft. Titles are inexpensive, 10 words or less on 16 millimeter film. On pictorial backgrounds, 75 cents. On figured or plain backgrounds, 45 cents. Additional words, 4 cents each. Yes, you guys are saying that you're happy that the mice got even with Lucifer, the evil cat, who I always call Rucifer because it makes me laugh. Yes, I love that. I love that Lucifer got what was coming to him. If you desire to economize, use a Titlecraft handset main title and junior subtitles. Ta-da. Nick is asking if you got the Tosh and Donald Duck book yet.
No.
These are cool.
No, sorry to say.
Pictorial titles by Titlecraft for every season. I love this. Do you know how old this is?
Well, that's probably 20s.
Yeah. Just amazing.
This is when people, and it was true for decades, people took great care with their home movies. Some people like to make real presentations. Also slideshows. Anyway, some people really wanted to give some polish and some professional sheen to
especially because they shared it. You share them.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
That's the whole thing. Hi, CJ. Are the cards for refurbished silence? No, I think it's just kind of whatever you want them to be. Done via computer. No, it's original. You can do whatever you like with it. Are those all your toys today?
Yeah.
Okay. I love these things. I love stuff like this.
What they've been doing with the most recent restorations, like the Laurel and Hardy Blu-rays of 1927, 1928, the great silent shorts that Laurel and Hardy made, when they don't have the proper title, they have a continuity form that they submitted for copyright. They know where the titles go, what they're
Mhm.
supposed to say. They will do nowadays. You can duplicate any font,
Mhm.
any size. You can put it on any background, and it can be seamless.
It's we're working on something right now, and they asked us what font we liked, and it's like, they're asking genuinely, so I don't want to, respond with any sarcasm to it, but it is fun. Are there any fonts that you like? Yeah, I like fonts. Tacoma was always a good one for me. That usually worked well. Times New Roman seems to be the standard.
Used to be.
I don't know.
Now some people prefer sans serif.
That is true. That is true. That is true. But yeah, it's those kind of questions where I go, I don't know. Font is great. Let's size, colors. Yeah, that's all fine.
Arial bold.
That's
Arial
well.
condensed.
But then you're getting into the bowls, and then you get into Sanskrit. It's a whole thing. There's a lot there. There's a lot there. I really do wonder. So, like, when my child is old enough to be typing on a laptop, first of all, are they even going to take notes by hand? I wonder these things. Is she even going to learn to take notes by hand? Or are they just going to skip them straight to computers? I really don't know. And I don't say this as a joke. I genuinely don't know. I don't know if she's going to learn to write. Yeah, I am confused by this. I do not know if she's going to ever have that. I've talked about, like, I don't know if kids, when I was growing up, if you did a report, you had to have, because they were just getting, the internet was just starting to become a source. And so the rule was, if you were doing a project on something, you had to have 2 book resources, and you were allowed 1 internet resource, and you had to do your bibliography. I asked that the other day of some friends. I said, do they still have to do bibliographies? And they looked at me and they said, and I kid you not, what's a bibliography? So then I went in my car and I cried. What's a bibliography? But then again, a lot of people now don't really care what their source is, which is part of the problem. But yeah, I wonder, like, when it comes, do they just use the internet? Where'd you get that from? I don't know, blah, blah, blah.com. It seemed real.
When I started teaching at USC 27 years ago, everybody had spiral bound notebooks and pens.
Yeah.
And now
all computers,
all laptops,
all computers. It really does sound like crickets. It takes you a minute to get used to it. I'm used to the sound now, but when they first all started coming in with their computers, you'd sit there and it just sounded like the sound of crickets. Because imagine 300 people typing on computers at the same time. And that's the only way I can really describe it. It's a strange noise I don't like. Tish is saying that Ariel's got nothing on Helvetica. Helvetica even got a film made about it.
That's true.
That's
true.
These are the things. There's a show on right now called School Spirit, and I like it very much. 2nd season just came out. And at one point they're looking at microfiche. And again, I'm thinking, are there people watching this who have absolutely no idea what the hell that is? In so many movies I grew up watching, there are scenes where they go to the local library to look through old newspaper, old newspaper headlines and stuff like that.
And they use microfilm usually for that.
Yeah. But you just want, are any of these things going to exist? Will they all just die off and disappear? I really don't know. Nick says, I still needed to do bibliographies for my college reports 8 to 10 years ago. That's comforting.
8 to 10 years now.
That's comforting. At least that happened then.
We're talking dog years now.
Yeah. It's just nuts. Jesse, I saw the movie Paddington 3, Paddington in Peru, and I think you should take Daisy. No.
Not yet.
Not putting her in a theater. Some of her friends do movies. Robin is actually going to see her best friend, probably the man she'll marry one day, is going. I wish you could have seen them feeding each other French fries yesterday. They are obsessed with each other. He is going with his parents to see Paddington in Peru today. Daisy will not sit in a theater for a film. That's not happening.
She will not sit anywhere for a film.
That's true. So one thing at a time. Someday she will, very happily. Right now, the ADD will send her flying. I will say, if you are somebody who wants to take their kids to screenings, Vidiots has been doing family-friendly screenings for a while. I don't know when they're on right now. But what they do is they don't turn the lights off all the way. and the kids can sort of run around and play if they want to. So if you would like to take a child to see a film, but you're nervous about it, like I think that's probably what I'll do with Daisy first, because how bad could it be? Bad. The answer is bad. It could be very, very bad.
Yeah.
We'll find out, won't we? Oh, I can't even imagine.
In the course of time.
Yeah, in the course of time.
In the course of time.
We will see. Did 31 Days of Oscars until March 3rd. Yeah, the 31 Days of Oscars, the TCM thing that they do is happening, and I have a lot of friends who are very much enjoying it.
It goes to the day after Oscars.
Yeah.
Oscars are on Sunday night.
Yeah.
March 2nd, right?
Yeah. It's I think that's a great idea. I love that they show what they do. And I have a lot of friends who watch things for the first time because of that, which is amazing. You know, nothing is perfect. TCM's not perfect. None of it's perfect, but at least there is still a place that if you're trying to show someone something, you have a spot to use. You know, you can say, here it is, here you go. So I appreciate that very much. We'll see, as I say, it's some of the kids at school, you know, they're totally into movies. They're totally into watching, whether it's black and white or cartoons or anything like that. I am amazed at sort of what they do respond to. So we have show and tell, and some things, not at all. Daisy brought a book this week, one of the ones where you touch it, it's fuzzy and has different stuff. Every single child in that room got up to touch all the things. That's 5-year-olds, 4-year-olds, 3-year-olds, all touching them. And I thought, how funny that this is something, because they also obviously get excited about toys. A lot of kids will bring in a Barbie or an action figure or something, but they all wanted to go up and touch, you know, this is a dog's ear. This is a whatever. So yeah, I don't know. I thought it was interesting. I'll take this last one and then we'll let you go. Hi, could you tell me the best resource to try to find old movie information with old limited information about the films? These were old films that were shown on Channel 13 PBS New York City in the early 1970s.
Well, you could get My Classic Movie Guide.
Yeah, there's one way.
It's still in print.
Yeah.
The third volume, the third edition of Leonard Maltin's Classic Movie Guide. Yeah. It doesn't tell you a lot. It's one very tight, concise paragraph, a capsule review, but it gives you some of the basics, and I think puts it in something of a context.
Yeah. Thankfully, there really are still a lot of resources. The internet being one of them, you know, for better or worse.
Yeah.
You can even look something up. If there's something specific that you're thinking of, look it up on YouTube. People post stuff all the time. You can find things that you just would never imagine would be there. And thankfully there are enough people sort of out there who want to get the information out that you can find different ways to locate it. So I hope that you're successful in that. The book is in bookstores still. Yes, you can sometimes still find the Classic Movie Guide in bookstores, which brings us joy. But we have some new books in the works, which is exciting because I always tell my dad he's an author and he needs to be working on books, right?
Yep. Premature to talk about them, but
they will exist. Soon. I'm not being specific.
No. I wasn't criticizing.
I wasn't criticizing. Look, I wasn't criticizing, okay? Anyway, friends, thank you for joining us. I'm sorry it's been kind of wacky. Spirit Awards are next weekend, but they're Saturday. So if I can move my body come Sunday, because I work Spirit Awards every year, and we're on our feet for a very, very long time. As long as I can function, we will be here next Sunday. So till then, please take good care of yourselves and
be kind.